I think it's time we blow this scene. Get everybody in the stuff together. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
Alright, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews, back to talk more Mandalorian. Got a new episode this week, Season 1, Episode 3, well, Chapter 3, call it The Sin. Full spoilers, because clearly I'm playing it in the background, if you have not seen this episode. Anyway, oh man, is this okay, look man, I know there are some doubters out there, and I also know there's some people being critical of it because, you know, that are hiding under the guise of, I'm going to be a real reviewer, and I'm gonna, because you are still pissed about The Rise of Skywalker. Fine. You know, you want to see the glass is half empty, go right ahead. I'm looking at it as not only full, but overflowing with Star Wars goodness, because, again, this feels like Star Wars. Even if it is a live-action cartoon. But it's nice to see Disney do something that's live-action, that's, you know, got a soul. Not like when they remake something that doesn't need to be remade. But again, with all the practical effects and the lore that they use, it's just great. And again, the people behind this who did Star Wars The Clone Wars and other things are really capturing the heart of this. And it's making it enough for kids and everything. I've heard so many people say how much, you know, little baby Yoda is adorable, and he is. Or she. Or it, whatever. And so, I just don't get why we can't just like something. Like, some things are just universally liked, and I don't, you know, is this perfect? No, there's cliches all over the place. There are definitely following some rules that you kind of have to, like, ignore a few things. Like, oh, well, you know, why didn't they do this? Or what if this? Or that doesn't quite make sense. But that's everything, man. You know, I can break down, like, I could break down Fight Club and probably just, like, my favorite movie, and probably destroy it in my mind in, like, a few minutes if I really, like, sat there and rewatched it and went, and then take all the fun out of watching the movie. Because there's really almost no perfect movies. There's some that come close, but that shouldn't always take away from your enjoyment of this. And when the drought that we're in, after all this time of having, you know, the bad taste, like for a lot of people having the bad taste of Solo and The Last Jedi in their mouths, and just all the talk and all the stuff surrounding it, you have something like this, and we still can't enjoy it. But for the people who do, that's what these videos are for. So let's talk about this. This was amazing. They keep upping it, and by the end of this 35 minutes, which, look, that's the other thing people have been talking about, is it's not long enough. Look, it's as long as they're telling a little chapter of the story here, and however long it takes is however long it takes. You know? Sure, would I love these to be feature-length films every episode? Yeah. Because that means and when you're asking it for them to be longer, it means that they're doing something right. It means that you can't wait till episode 3. And I don't think they're making them short because of that. They've been allowed to do exactly what they need to do. This is a streaming service. They can make it as long as they want. But they're not. They're making it as long as they need. So, here we go. Finally talking about this. So, the Mandalorian finally brings his package back to the Empire, the remnants of the Empire. This very, you know, living below ground, kind of like the Mandalorian's empire. We really don't know who this guy is, played by Werner Herzog. He's got such a great voice. I love his narration on things. And, you know, we are getting a lone wolf and cub kind of story, which is also great. I love these kind of stories. We don't get them very often, and when we do, sometimes they're not very good. But in this case, it's great. It's just great, man. And so he, you know, you can tell, you know, all the telltale signs, the cliches are there. Him looking at the kid, don't touch that. You know, he's just It's the hard shell trying to get into the gooey center. That is the Yoda baby, which is so adorable. And I realize what that Yoda baby is, man. He's a green Mogwai. I'm convinced that, I mean, that's why he's so cute. Because look at, when you watch Gremlins and shit, and you look at little Gizmo, and Gizmo is just one of the like, most adorable designs of all time. Yeah, that's what this is. Except he's got like black eyes and green hair. He's got the same kind of ears as a Mogwai. So how are you not gonna love it? You know this shit's gonna be a doll, and everybody's gonna be eating the crap out of it. And I mean, no, not I mean literally, but buying the hell out of it. I'll probably buy one. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I just wish I could put it in something that floats. That would be tight. Just kind of have it following me around. Oh man, we live in such spoiled times. This is going to be a thing. Maybe not the floaty thing, but whatever. So he takes the baby, the 50-year-old baby. Hey, there's a lot of 50-year-old babies out there. To them, and they take the baby away, the 50-year-old baby, and he accepts the payment in the Beskar steel. And, he asks, what are you going to do with him? They look at him like, what are you asking that for? You're not supposed to ask that. It's part of guild rules. And so, he, not really reluctantly, just, he takes the money, takes the steel, which I thought was money at the first because I completely forgot about the Mandalorian steel. Because I'm not as familiar with all the lore as some of you guys are. I applaud all of you that have consumed it all and taken it in. I just never had the time. I had, I try to spread my stuff out. And so there's very few things that I have like a kind of a focused knowledge on, like movies, certain, like movies and like comic books and things like that. So certain elements of things like X-Men I know a lot about, but I know a decent amount of Star Wars, but not as much as to remember what Beskar Steel was right away. So he takes and a lot of this also felt like watching a video game, like this NPC blacksmith just kind of sitting there waiting for you to arrive with your next like upgrade. It's like it's always just sitting there waiting for you to arrive with your next upgrade. Like, here's what I got from this last level of the game. Now make this into the new thing. But in this scene, though, we get, more Mandalorian lore for people that aren't familiar with it. That in the Clone Wars, really, if you watch the cartoon, they were sided with the Separatists. And then they got betrayed and all sorts of stuff happened. And now the Mandalorians live, and then it, came over to the Empire side after Revenge of the Sith. Then everything went bad for the Mandalorians. And now the ones that are left, let's make sure we move this around so we don't go too blacking out here. Now they're underground, and they say they only come up like one at a time. So does that mean that this Mandalorian is kind of the representative of their group? And whatever he brings in is kind of like for everyone. Because he also saved some of the steel for the foundlings, which are the future. And it is the way. We have a lot of that. There's a lot of like one word kind of like end of drop the mic kind of moments, like sayings in this, like this is the way, or I have spoken. Very cartoonish, very iconic, cartoony kind of lines that are definitely going to be on T-shirts. Stuff that there's going to be Ugnaught T-shirts that just got a guy putting it going, I have spoken. Memes. There's got to be, oh man, come on. There's probably, if we look up I have spoken, I bet you there's already that stuff out there. And it's going to be all over Twitter. But, he gets into a bit of a fight as they discuss the Mandalorian way. And how, how can anyone be a coward that chooses this life? And so they make the steel for him. They make him a new set of armor. They make him these whistling birds. And then they say to use them sparingly, which means, he's probably going to run out of them, like, right away. Because it's foreshadowing. These cool little things you put in his gauntlet. And I wish they didn't say sparingly. I wish that would have been just something that he could use all the time. But when he gets the armor, and he walks up to Apollo Creed, in this next bit, I'm glad that they have clearly made it now. This is Boba Fett. So anybody that's new to it and everything, keep hoping maybe it's not. It's all right that it isn't. In fact, and I still am convinced that it's not because they don't want to pay George Lucas. Or and they'll use it under the guise of we want to create a new character. Well, why? There's no reason, because then you get to have that cool story. Then they'd have to maybe make one of the books canon, where I believe it was in Tales from Jabba's Palace, where Boba Fett got out of the Sarlacc pit. Or maybe that's just some urban legend that I think I read. I thought I read that. But again, I think they're creating all these new characters, including the ones from the new trilogy, so that they paid Lucas his billion, $3-4 billion, whatever it was, and now they're just going to create new things off of it. They're just, they're just not in your face about it. They're not going, let the past die, kill it in this. They're just kind of moving on. And so, but they put him in that kind of style of armor, I think, that weathered armor, to kind of give everybody a base to go, this he looks like Boba Fett, so you understand what he is. He's a bounty hunter. And then now we've got the new armor, he gets kind of a new identity. And when he goes to Apollo Creed, because I can't remember his name in this movie, it's just nice to see Carl Weathers get work. I love the running gag they had on Arrested Development, where he was kind of like a scrounger. Like, he'd be picking up everything that's free. Ooh, and make sure you go to that place for the Bluebird special. And, this made the joke of kind of the wither of fame. And now to be able to say that he's in a Star Wars show is pretty cool. I mean, come on, the guy's like pushing, 70 probably? And maybe that's being kind, because he looks great. He looks great. I mean, he doesn't look like he did back in 1984, but who does, And since the majority of this audience, well, no, maybe about, let's say, like 60-40 of this audience wasn't even born yet. So he goes there, and everybody's jealous. Nobody could get it done. The whole galaxy basically had this job, as he finds out. Oh, we also find out that his family basically was taken down by the robot armies of the Separatists. So it's nice to see that. I love that bit of detail, that big robot. So, the Mandalorians, or maybe, it's nice to see that bit of the backstory of who exactly it was that he was fighting when he was a kid. It makes sense. The timeline completely makes sense. And it must have been near the tail end of all that, because after that happened, after the Separatist army and everything and all that, you need time for things to get older. And I would imagine that this Mandalorian is probably about 35, 40. So he just wants to get back to work. Carl Weathers wants him to kind of forget everything. Take your time, but come on, look who you're talking to. The guy doesn't take his helmet off. And yes, we're going to keep using the hashtag keep the helmet on for this show. I forgot to put it on like my last video. I had to make another tweet saying keep the helmet on. I also love that they mentioned that. Have you ever taken your helmet off? No. Has anyone ever forced it off you? Nope. And any other details that I miss in this, because I'm trying really hard off of memory and no notes today to do it. Put them in the comment section for me, because I'm sure I'm going to miss something. Probably already have. So he takes his next job, and it's to go get this Mon Calamari's son, who skipped bail. And he leaves. He asks what they're going to do with the kid, and they won't tell him. And he's like, what does it matter, man? Like, it's not part of the guild way. You can't ask that question, which is, it's predictable where it's going, but who cares? Sometimes predictable. You want it to go that way, right? Does anybody not want him to go back to the Yoda baby because he's part of the guild? Maybe like 5% of this audience is like, yeah, man, screw Yoda baby. I bet you there are full-grown, like, men that you would not think that would want him to go back for Yoda baby. They're like, you better go back for Yoda baby, man. So that's basically exactly what he does. I mean, he gets onto his ship. They make us go all that way to make you think that he's not gonna go. But it's it's a tired cliche, but I mean it works fine here. It's part of the story. It's you're following a lone wolf cub story, so it has to go that way. I mean, it does. I guess it doesn't have to. He could immediately just go in there firing, but his character is part of the guild of bounty hunting, so he has this code, not just of the Mandalorians, but the bounty hunter code to follow. So all of what he's about to do is, they wanted to make sure that it's an impactful moment for the audience to realize what he's giving up to do what he's doing. And so he goes back and he scans the place with, and I was talking to my friend about this, like, why does he have the helmet useful? And we see that it is. He turns the naked scan in his helmet, a la, like, Tony Stark. And, we hear that the doctor is saying, why do we have to kill it? The Imperial is, of course, saying, like, just get what you need and toss the thing out, basically, into the garbage. Which, it's, that's the Empire. They weren't very, they pretended to care about all the different alien races and all the different planets and all the creatures that lived on it while they were separatists, because they just wanted people to side with them, get them away from the Republic. And then once they beat the Republic, all that went right out the window, and everybody went into slavery or genocide. And so that whole way of thinking is just like, they're trash. They're not us. They're trash. I mean, they're space Nazis. That's why you can do anything you want to them. So, like, when you see a stormtrooper, just get the living hell kicked out of him, you feel nothing but just, shouldn't have wore the helmet, dude. So he goes back. Okay, so it makes you wonder, because when the thing comes out and goes, and he grabs it, there's a scream. And while that is silly as hell, it makes you wonder, what is at the end of that thing? Is it just a guy in a mic? Why did he scream? It's just a nice touch, very cartoony, like, ah! So he gets the distraction, pulls them out. It makes me think of, like, taking down a outpost in, like, Far Cry, where you just gotta, like, sometimes you just gotta do something to draw everybody out so you can swing in and take everybody out. So that's what he does. He blows up the side of the building. I mean, when he finds the little pod here in the garbage, it's like, ooh boy, he's not happy now, because anything's possible. All those things are probably running through his head. Am I too late? And then he proceeds to and this was another part that felt like a video game, where I'm like, oh man, I want to play this. I want to play this game. Or he just goes in stealth-wise a little bit, and starts just taking these stormtroopers out. And then the third one that comes in, and after he, like, hits him, and then he just, like, fires into his chest for good measure. Oh, man. I loved it so much. And we get to see, like, the full gamut of his tool belt, basically his, he's kind of like an armored Batman, like, he's got all the little gadgets that are really cool. I think that's another reason why we like Boba Fett, is he probably reminds us a little bit of Batman, in a way. Okay, everybody don't fucking, he's not Batman, you bastard. And, like, when he comes around the corner and hits the guy with the grapple and, like, zooms him up and stabs him. I mean, come on, that is a video game move. That is a game move that you'd, like, use. You're like, oh man, I'm gonna do this and that. Like, kind of just that multiple ways to play through things. Sets the one guy on fire. I mean, it's all goodness, because they're stormtroopers. Like I said, you can do whatever you want to them. He cooks that guy. And then, shoots the droid that's, like, it turns the one that, like, we all associate with torturing Han from Empire Strikes Back. And the doctor, he's trying to say, don't kill me, man, don't kill me. I was trying to keep the baby alive. And, of course, he doesn't, and he dips with the baby. He's gone. But immediately, they almost get him, right? He does that great move. It's kind of, they want to draw him out, takes down those stormtroopers as well, just bashing them in. 4 of them surround him, and then, they think they got him, and of course, this is where he uses the whispering birds, and they're these little homing missiles that fly out and track down whoever's in the area. Probably he can do it with his helmet, I don't know. Maybe it tracks, like, heat signatures, That's probably what, because that's what a homing missile does, Rob. Hi, I understand things. So, so he takes them out and proceeds to leave, but is immediately all the bounty hunters in the area. And since this is one of those areas, kind of a what? Oh God, the place on Tatooine, place of scum and villainy. Oh my God, wow. It is what 8 o'clock in the morning. So I've been recording. I was watching this at about 7. All right, so we had another technical issue. I did get my new camera, but I haven't fully figured it out yet. So we're still using this Logitech stuff, and it completely just. You guys probably, this is a glitchy camera. Anybody who watches my stuff has gotten to know that. New people, welcome to the glitchy camera show. So I had to stop. I had to shut the whole thing down because it just froze up, and I couldn't even see what was going on. So anyway, jumping back into it, he goes out, and this is where you could say, like, all the bounty hunters immediately all here, get the bounty on him, and you could say, why isn't he running for his ship? Why is he walking so slow? It's the one thing that I could say, like, why? But then you don't have, again, you don't have this great big standoff with Carl Weathers standing there with all the bounty hunters saying, you got to put the baby down, man, and maybe we'll let you pass. You're breaking guild law, but, I mean, that's what they say right before they shoot you and take all your shit. So he jumps into the... Swear to God. Sorry, there's, like, off-camera noises that are just, like, shotgun blasts in my ear right now. So he dives into a speeder and starts taking them out one at a time. He starts making some disintegrations. It's really, really cool. And then he forces the droid in the speeder to drive. Now, again, you go, well, why don't they just shoot the droid? And again, at least they do this. Like, after a minute, Carl Weathers shoots the droid. I mean, they do the thing that should be done. Like, why should he just get away clean? Then it would be stupid. But it's not. They do the right thing. And, I mean, the right thing with the wrong people. But eventually, he's pinned down. They've got him. He's killed a lot of them. He's on his own. He's killed a lot. And then I just didn't think of this because, honestly, the way they were talking about We Don't Come Up, he's on his own. But the Mandalorians all show up and save the day. And this was amazing. And yeah, this, some people are comparing this episode to John Wick 3. Whatever, man. Yeah, all the bounty hunters came after it. Like, yeah, I guess. It's guild law. I mean, the comparison's there. I don't think they thought, hey, let's do what John Wick 3 did. But the Mandalorians are one for all and all for one, and they tell him to get the hell out of there, and he does. And it's amazing to see all the Mandalorians fight. They all have the different styles. And when he gets away, Carl Weathers is there because he dipped out. And he uses the... oh, God. Again, the carbonite freezing thing to cause a distraction. And he shoots Carl Weathers, who is only saved because he had the Beskar steel. Something that didn't sit right with the Mandalorian. Seeing him pull that out earlier, kind of like a war crime, like somebody profiting from war crimes. But in the end, it's kind of like like they called him out earlier. Like, you're dealing with people that took this from us. Like, how good are you? It was kind of a bone of contention here. But it doesn't change the fact that they were still loyal to him and came to him when he needed him. And also, when at the end, it is a little Iron Man-y at the end, sure, like the guy's flying next to him, he's like, man, I got one of those. And that's a perfect way to end it, man. This was a fantastic episode. This is such a lot of fun. And if you're looking for some higher meaning in it, just have some fun. Pull the Star Wars stick out of your butt and just watch something that's good. Leave your Star Wars complaining for Star Wars the trilogy. You want to make more attention on this show because you're unhappy with the other thing. That's your right. That's your whatever. But you're not doing yourself or the series any other favors or service. You're just doing it for likes, clicks, subscribes, and get more super chats out of people that don't know no better. So, anyway. The ones that just want to be part of the conversation. Here, take my money so that we can all just agree about how much everything sucks. So anyway, that's chapter 3. I can't wait for chapter 4. It's going to be amazing. Every episode is up the ante. I don't know if he's going to be going after that new pod, I should say, fourth pod, with the calamari. I think more along the lines of it's time to try to find out where this baby came from, and along the way, try not to get killed by basically everyone in the galaxy. And I know we're going to be meeting up with Gina Carano's character, who I can't wait to meet because I really like Gina Carano. She is. Ever see her in... she did a movie with Soderbergh called Haywire. If you have not seen Haywire, you're doing yourself a disservice. That movie made me want her to be the Wonder Woman, even though she's a little thick. But I kind of thought that was, and when I mean thick, I mean fit. She's tight. And she's short, but whatever. So is Tom Cruise. So check out Haywire if you want to know what I'm talking about with Gina Carano. Otherwise, if you liked this review, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, become part of the channel. We just passed 1,000 subscribers this week, so any growth we get is fine. I hit my mark, and now it's just about making content and growing the community. And so, by growing the community, we need subscribers like you. Now I sound like a PBS commercial. So, with donations from people like you. You can find me on Twitter at reviews_gun. Otherwise, this is Robert Smirking on Review saying we're going to be back later today to talk Man in the High Castle Season 4. Full spoilers on that, by the way, because I just finished it last night, but it was too late to make the video, so we're going to be doing that next. So have a great day, everybody, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye.